Where's the record? Yes. Hello, everyone. We are live with a big record button in the middle of the screen. And it is Kathleen Kirkwood. I am the founder of the B.R.A. Thank you, the B.R.A. Recycling Agency. And every month we have a call to talk about charities, organizations, green groups, schools, universities, of how you can raise money and use some of the B.R.A. tools. We've been doing that for a while. But today we have a special guest. And if you got the email, and some of you called me about it, thank you, thank you, thank you. It is Maureen Earls, a veteran of the live events world. And our subject today is, can sustainability humanize your virtual events? So to introduce Maureen, we're going to play a little music. Hit it, KT.
Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? The cake's very nice, put up a parking lot.
Oh, I wonder how I picked this song.
Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? The cake's very nice, put up a parking lot.
That's great. Okay, and I am introducing now Maureen Earls. You like that song?
I love that song. Do you remember we listened to that in high school?
Nah, I don't remember that. Yeah. So Maureen is can we think of a new word than veteran? I mean, like, people call me too veteran. I don't know.
That doesn't sound good.
You're a
Experience.
a thought leader.
Oh dear.
Okay. A thought leader for 30 some odd years in the live event space. And our subject today is, can sustainability humanize live events? And I picked that song because we are BFFs from, it's high school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's high school. And you went on your merry way, and I went on my merry way, and you went to Hong Kong. But tell me a little bit about, just like a capsule version of what got you into, from high school into live events to Hong Kong.
I really fell in.
Am I putting you on the spot?
No, it's fine. I really fell into the event business. I really just met someone, and I was working in the airlines, and they said, you look like a jack of all trades. You do great in events. And I literally fell into it. I wasn't even sure I was interested, to be honest. And I just wound up loving it. And through my position in New York City, they sent me to Hong Kong to do an event. And I just loved that city and thought, I've got to move here. So 3 months later, I did, and thought I'll stay a year or two. And 23 years later, I came back to the States. So events, I just found the whole variety of different clients, different venues, different type of events. I did live events, of course.
There she is. We lost you a little bit, but we have you back now, and I cannot hear you now.
How'd that happen?
Oh, there you go. You're on now. You're good.
Yeah, then you went out. Anyway.
Okay. Well, when I stopped hearing you, you were in Hong Kong for 2 years, and then all of a sudden, did that come like 23 years, you said?
Yeah. So yeah, the plan was for a couple of years, but hard to leave. So the event business, I've been fortunate that I've been able to do all different types of events, and in a lot of different places, a lot of different countries, and it's been fabulous.
So what's your favorite? Like, if you were to, because I think you did like live events, like almost carnivals, and then you did product launches, I think, for big brands, very fancy brands, and you, maybe like indoor conferences, things like that. Is there like a favorite?
Yeah, I mean, they all had something special. I mean, even just doing carnivals was like, which seems like, not that exciting of an event, but we would get 1 million people in like 3 months' time. Yeah, so and just organizing all that and standing at the gate at night as people left, and you'd see all these happy faces and all these happy families, and having that to be able to do that every day. That was just something different that I'd never done. I mean, the handover ceremonies, of course, will always be my favorite because of their significance, because of the challenges, because of all the things learned on the way. That was the only time I've had an event where I had people working on it in Asia, Europe, and the US and Australia. So in order for us to work around the clock in the design and production phase, there was somebody somewhere in the world always working on the event, and that was exciting, and made a lot out of a 24-hour day, because like nobody was, when we were sleeping, somebody was awake doing something. Anyway, so I've been lucky. I had a lot of great events.
Well, when you talk about the handover and the global event, and 1 million people, right now everything is quickly gone to virtual and Zoom and connecting by that, and you know, what's is that going to continue or things like that? What?
I think it's going to be both. I think
Oh,
live events will come back,
okay.
because I think concerts, theatrical performances, certain number of events people are really going to want to go to. Business meetings, I think, will really change. And a lot of, experiences can change. I I think we'll have both. I think the virtual events will grow, but I don't see that as a bad thing. I got an email about um, an event that I've always wanted to go to, but it's at a difficult time of year for me, and I know I've been thinking about going for years, but I haven't. But now it's going to be virtual, and I can't help but be excited because I'm going to go. Like, I'm going to be able to attend and get the information and get the education in that field that I'm interested in. So they're gaining a new person, I'm gaining that. So virtual events, although, there's nothing like a live event, and of course, 30 years, I'm a big live event believer, but there's a lot of positive that we can take from virtual events. They're good too.
Well, let's talk about that because we came up with some positive things about that. Like I have a friend in the East End, Montauk, East Hampton, and they are performers, and they raise money for their performance art education company, and people just come in droves for that. And you were talking about performances or live events, and now they're going to be virtual. So you know you hit the nail on the head before, because we were saying a lot of people are saying, hey, come anyway. There's a little guilt involved. Like, I'm sorry, it's just virtual. But there's some positive things about that. And, that's sort of my field, and my devotion is reducing waste and plastic and, all the things that come out of these huge events. It's not something we want to do forever, but it's a nice add-on to say to people, hey, we're going to have a virtual event. Maybe we're going to reduce waste. Do you want to tell me what you think about something like that?
Yeah, no, I think it is an opportunity. It is an opportunity because people are going to realize, the carbon footprint. You're not driving or flying to where you would go for this event. So first of all, you've done something good. You've reduced your carbon footprint right there and then and there. But
Okay.
also by right, you've done a good deed, right? Uh,
So come when you come to our event, we'll ship it home, a little halo for you to wear on the Zoom, a green halo. My
exactly.
footprint, I'm stuck inside, but my footprint's low.
My footprint is lower, so I'm doing a good thing. So, but you are, and we don't think about, we think about these things, but it's just I was going to participate in a charity event, but this charity event a few weeks ago, they had to go virtual, and when I sat back and thought about, first of all, I wouldn't have participated if I had to drive there. I just, for lots of logistical reasons, I would have. So I didn't drive there. I didn't buy to participate in this event. There were things I was going to have to buy. I didn't have to buy any of that stuff that I might have used again or a few times or loaned to a friend, but it definitely could have had destiny in a landfill, right? I mean, the things I had to buy to do this event, it could have been a future landfill material, but now I didn't buy any of that, so that's good. Then I didn't have to get meals for me and my kids, that out of some kind of styrofoam container because we were at this event. I didn't do any of that. We didn't buy. I mean, my family's not allowed to have water bottles, but let's just say I forgot it somehow. I don't know how because that would never happen. But if it did, we weren't buying water bottles. So there was all these good things that we didn't
How
that we
many,
didn't do.
how many water bottles do you think you have purchased for your events over the period?
Well, some of our events, I mean, talking about large scale events, I don't know what the numbers are, but I know because I'm on the back of house side, I see the heaps of garbage. We do a beer event and a wine event, or we used to do every year, and that would take my breath away about the numbers of bottles of beer in one night, or when we do the wine events, the
Wow.
bottles of wine. I mean, it's truckloads to take it. We do insist they use a recycling, that they can't do the event unless they recycle the bottles,
When
the
did you
glass bottles.
when did you start that insisting, you think? When did you notice that, okay, this isn't cool. I don't care if it's okay with you, it's not okay with me. I'm going to insist that we recycle.
Well, luckily I went on the other side of events by being a venue manager. And as a venue manager, you can, as an event producer, I could say to my client, please do this. And they may or may not. They would definitely say, oh, great idea. Maureen, did great idea. We're going to do that. And then you show up at the event, they say, oh, yeah, we forgot, or it was difficult, or it was going to be expensive, or it was just complicated. We decided not to. But when I got to be on the other side of the fence as a venue manager, it's what I could make it a rule. I could just make, you want to be here? Yes, that's great. Then you need to do this. I mean, you have to, and even though they might balk a little because there is an expense, there is a cost involved. But sometimes at the end of the night, I was collecting bottles and putting them in those recycle bins and help load the truck. And they'd look at me and say, "Why are you helping?" I said, "Because we're all in this. I can't sit there and go, you need to collect all those bottles and sit in my office in air conditioning while, we all have to help."
Right, right, right. You know, I notice all that too, and I see that for events, and they kind of say, well, we didn't get around to it. But what do you think of the idea of letting the public know or letting the people that are participating know what they've achieved? So, for instance, on the B.R.A. that I have, if you buy one of our services, if you're a store or you're one of our executive curators, you get a certificate at the end of the year with how much plastic you've reduced. But I think we talked about people don't want to pay for. I mean, it's a big subject anyway. I was just on a call for 2 days with Fashion Innovate and Fashion Sustainability, and the number one subject the whole time, wasn't really, well, how much water is this taking up in India, or how much of our, oil is damaging. It's almost climate injustice. It's always the poorer communities. That was kind of
Right.
not even a subject. The whole subject was, well, who's going to pay for it? And, time and time again. And, it's like anything. It's like the computer we're on, in 1980 was $1 million. Like Spy Who Shagged Me is like $1 million. But now they're $600. So yes, it's expensive, but it will come down. But I find that when you tell people, if they paid a little at the extra ticket, what they've achieved or what they've reduced, that there's a sense of pride that they'll come back and do it again and again and again. And I think that's why you see more and more brands willing, not as much as you would think, but more and more brands are willing to say, hey, we recycle and we reduce by this much because they see the younger people want it. And so it is expensive, but I mean, would you advise someone who wants to integrate sustainability into their story? How do you pass the money down? Do you say, okay, well, recycling, the guy who picks it up wants $1,200 for the truck to pick up the recycling, for an example. So we have to add that, do we just take it off the sponsor money and pay less to the charity? Or do we pass it on and maybe have a ticket? It's even like UPS. Like when I buy UPS, I can now pick a checkbox on UPS that says lower carbon. I think it's low. The checkbox is lower carbon emissions. It's almost like a flight.
Right.
It's mandatory though. But I think I know on UPS because I do it all the time. You can pick, and you pay like 32 cents more. You don't pay 20,
Right. It's nothing.
32 cents more. So what do you think, or have you experienced anything like that where people are publicizing their sustainability events, like you say the word exercises, but let the public know what they're paying for, or even give the public the option? When you buy on Amazon now, you can drop down and pick which charity you want to contribute to. It's very successful, and you find people want to help. I mean, that's the understatement. I think Amazon has seen exponential growth, and is it controversial because, okay, they gave 115 million, last month, but it increased their user by 2 billion,
Right.
So like, okay, 115 is nice, but you just use that cause marketing tool idea. But hey, it's good.
No, it's definitely good.
So, what do you think about pushing, or, just sort of letting people charities or events, people know? What do you think about them giving them back to the client or the user to say, hey, we want to do this sustainability, it's $5 more? Give them the option instead of just saying, we're either going to skip it or we're going to reduce what we put home in our pocket.
Yeah, no, I think companies really should use, if they're really doing it. I mean, if they're not just giving lip service, and if they're really making a difference in and how they're being sustainable. However, from the fact that the ticket is on your phone, so there's no, printing, the fact that all the food service people, all your food booths are using biodegradable plates and cutlery, whether you have a policy of selling no water on site, which is something that water is not available, that you provide free water. Everyone should bring their water bottle, or you give them away. And we have, when I worked at the venue in Hong Kong, we had a client, a music and arts weekend. And, it attracts about 60, 70,000 people over those 3 days. But they insist, you try to, "Well, how come I can't buy a water bottle?" Well, their whole thing is, if you're going to come to this concert, not only do you like the music we've chosen and the 5 stages and all the great stuff we have, but you also really care about the environment, because that's who we are. So if you want to be part of this concert series, you need to care. And you need to, accept that these are the rules. And yeah, you just finished a beer. You're not throwing that plastic cup on the floor or whatever. You're bringing it to the recycle, because we're going to recycle all those plastic cups. And you're going to walk over to it and you're going to do it. And amazing, everybody does it.
I know.
Because it's part of the brand. It's like, oh, I go to Clockenflap because it's a really cool music and arts thing, but it's also because I care. So I think engaging people, as long as you do it in a way that's convenient, like if you say, well, you have to walk over to those receptacles. They're not a mile away, you make it that it's possible. And even with that, like the recycling centers sometimes get so confusing. Do I put it in here? Do I put it in there? They get freebie volunteers. So I'm going to get to work the event. I get to listen to the music. I'm not going to get paid, but I'm going to stand here and say, yeah, that cup goes in there. That can goes in there. Yeah. And because people don't read signs, they're talking, they're like, where do I put this? Like, I don't know what to do. You need to say in there, like as quickly as
Right.
possible. So that by having these volunteers just pointing out where the recycle goes, that gives, that increases cooperation, a hundredfold. And, the organizer talks about what they saved and, what as a group and as us 70,000 people going and having a great time, we also did this. And they definitely should promote it. And also on the paying thing, like now every time I go to the supermarket,
Yeah.
different supermarkets, do you want to round up? Make this, your bill is $34.26. You want to round up to $35 to this organization. They've picked whatever charity. So I think rounding up. So I've just bought my burger and they say, oh, we're providing you with biodegradable dish or plate or napkin, whatever. But that costs more. Can I round up instead of you giving me $3.40, you're going to give me $4 or you're going to whatever. Everybody would say round up because you kind of don't want to be the idiot that says, no, I'm not giving you that 30 cents, right?
No.
So
No.
you could pass it on, but people have a choice. They didn't just get a more expensive burger or whatever the food was. It didn't just become more expensive. It's like, can we round up? And that 50 cents will help us to continue to offer more sustainable products. People will do it.
I think it's very interesting. I've seen people do that kind of thing all the time too. Actually, people are looking to do more. I think people are missing out when they have, when I explain to a charity sometimes, especially, in the early days, explaining that, hey, or even a brand or a retailer, that if you're offering recycling, you're going to get customers who want to be part of that movement.
Mhm.
They want to join in. They want to be part of the solution. And one of the biggest questions, I get all the time is, how can I help? What can I do? How can I do? What can I do? And you're saying you got volunteers. Hey, throw it over there, throw it over there. Now you're providing that customer with a story and an experience.
Mm.
They can say, hey, I went to the concert. Oh my God, they had buckets all over and we were throwing this one over there and they recycle everything. It's almost like a point of pride where you can tell the story, because storytelling is the best form of advertising there is. So if you're just going, and that's what I try to convey to the charities to say, okay, all right, you can say, we do great things, donate now. Okay. But how many donate nows are out there right now?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, and now with the virtual, the email used to come in for donate now. Now it's donate now and join our meeting. Donate now and join our meeting. Donate now. It's too
And
much.
have a family chat thrown in there.
Right, right. And keep the mental health. And here is an app for your mental health. Forget
Yeah,
it.
no, it's a lot.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
going out. So, what I try to convey as a value for B.R.A. is okay, you can sort of break through and say, hey, we do great things at our organization. But do you have any bras that you want to reduce landfill and plastic? We're going to have a B.R.A. fundraiser event, and you can send in your bras. And guess what we're going to do? we're going to take out the ring and slide and plastic, and we're going to reduce all that. And you can hit the button and buy a ticket to get that downloadable label, and 90% is going to go to our great organization doing great things, and the rest of it will recycle all your brush. You just now created an action, an experience. Somebody can tell somebody else, oh my God, did you see that the church down the street is recycling bras? I mean, I couldn't believe it either. And I just recycled, because we do it with this like 60, 70 bras I got rid of, and then would they give because all these donate nows are for $5, $10, $20. So it gives a little differentiation, if that's a word, and an action. And I think that's what I meant by the humanizing sustainability. Maybe that's what I really meant. Can you give people an action? And your example was great. You're at the concert, you drive there and you get there and you go to the music and you go home and people say it was a good concert. Like, yeah, it's a good concert. But you've created now all this action and messaging and recycling, and we're saving the planet, we're listening to music. Oh my God, you get back, you're almost exhausted from all the participation. So it's a good, sustainability, and what you're saying is something they shouldn't sell it short. It could
No, it's a big deal.
It's a big deal. And guess what? Here's Maureen Earls, okay, who, created the Handover, Macau, some really big events. She had one she just talked about. 1 million people are coming through. She has some experience. And what does that experience show her? Even before, like Al Gore, climate reality, and this whole climate crisis is not, some science fiction thing. Everybody pretty much goes, yeah. Even before that, she was integrating recycling. And what did she see? She saw everybody signing up to say, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, people want to do it.
People want to do it.
Here's the memo. People want it. Even for me, I started going to brands and retailers, 2015, 16, 17. And, zero. Our customer won't pay for it.
Right.
Customer doesn't want it. It's too expensive. They don't understand it. Right?
Or an envelope. I think women can get that. Women are pretty smart.
They get it. And so we just started to offer on our website, the free download. And by the way, we have to pay the bill when we, it's waste management. So there's a cost. So we have, we put up a label. You could buy one for $5. It's really doesn't even pay the bills, but it's a stipend just to say, hey, chip in. It's almost like chip in $5 or, but
make this happen.
The downloads and that much bigger than the amount of brands, they're coming along slowly but surely, and more now than ever before. Thank goodness. But, we just gave it to the people. We just gave it to the people because, yeah, they definitely want it. Like,
Yeah, they want it. And people are cleaning out closets like crazy now. Yes. So it should be a busy time.
Yeah, I had a conversation with someone in Saint-Tropez in the fashion industry, and we were thinking about, what is going to happen to all this old clothing in the stores, because what was in there in February, you think?
Right.
Or clothing, yeah, clothing doesn't sustain. It's not sustainable. No way. Well, that's another webinar that we're
really.
So let me just shift it a little bit and talk about like the virtual thing and the live event thing. So now everybody is going to virtual meetings, but they're never going to get 1 million people, like you were talking about, 1 million people through that, or they're never going to get do you think that the way to get the amount of people through a Zoom call as you would a live event?
I don't know. I think it is possible. I think it, I don't know. I don't know what the technology can handle. But if it's, it's interesting because they are experimenting. There was that concert that was on all the stations a while ago, and they're doing an interesting thing. My son should be graduating high school this year, but of course, there's no graduation ceremony. But I just heard something about. Uh, I'm not sure who the sponsor is or who's putting this together, but like the Obamas are going to host a graduation ceremony for every and any person that's graduating because they won't have the luxury or the pleasure of being on. Now, I'm really curious about that because whether you're graduating from high school, college, middle school, it's a graduation, whatever you're graduating from. But it'll be on YouTube, I think, eventually. I think that's where the link, and you have to register for the link. And I'm curious about how many people do that because I'm going to do it because I have a graduate. But you think about, how many people that could be. It's a lot. And I think there's three different ones going on. There's more than just one, but these virtual graduations. That's an event that never existed before. It's a brand new event, right? A national graduation in the middle of May. But I think that will be a good test for how many people attend that event. I don't know.
Well, with all the plane travel and people, not driving their cars, our climate has healed itself
Yes.
almost, miraculously. It can come down. So I think people will notice that too. And there'll be some people who appreciate, like we're talking about the savings, they might appreciate, hey, if I do go, then I have to spend that much emissions to go, where there's an offer for me to stay. So you're right, it's probably going to be big balance if it's that successful because, travel is time, money, and energy and emissions.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. This will be interesting to. Yeah. So I think it's really changing, and we just have to be open to the changes, and there'll be positives of the changes, and there'll be negatives. There'll be loss, but there'll be gain. I mean,
speaking of gaining, I wonder if there'll be a new job created that could be like events organizers who specialize in all the, technology you need.
yes. Yeah.
Because Zoom, for whatever Zoom, I should have bought the stock. It was 89 in March. I'm like, hey, that's a little pricey. Then it went to 141. I'm like, oh my God, it's
Oh, wow.
ridiculous. I don't even know what it is now, but it went up.
Oh, well.
Oh well, it's never too late to buy something that'll keep growing, but I'm sure it'll evolve a little bit um, for what you can do on Zoom, or someone will, take
Yes.
over the capability. Yeah, because they weren't ready for what's going on now.
No.
No,
No. But it's,
there'll be
I've used it a lot, and everybody is, and you don't hear many, you hear about some, you don't hear about it dropping out and all good stuff. So, but for something that's bigger, you might need a different platform. There's plenty of them out. There's a few of them out though. So
yes, we're on Cisco WebEx right
yeah,
now.
the WebEx is
High
good. This
security.
charity event that I did, which was nationwide and had a few thousand people involved, was on WebEx.
Oh,
And it was really good. And we had a choice of putting our camera on or not. There was no audio from the participants, but we could put our camera on if we wanted. So it was interesting. I could scroll through the pages and pages of participants and see other people. Yeah, no, it was fantastic. Yeah, it was really good. Yeah.
very good. So, what is our conclusion? Will sustainability humanize virtual events? How do we conclude that question?
Well, I think it, you know, it adds to the fact that people want to do the right thing by the planet, and I think being aware, you know, everyone is starting to be more aware of so many things, but sustainability and being close and caring, and I think yes, I think it is an absolute yes.
So our next follow-up call will have to be, can kindness help your virtual events? You know, because we're covering all subjects. Well, that was excellent and a breath of fresh air. I can't thank you enough. Believe it or not, I learned quite a bit. I mean, I know you forever. We lost touch for, what was that, like 20 years?
Something like that.
We went to high school.
Just for a
We're
little
like,
time.
we're really busy. I got into events. You do the QVC and the fashion thing. I'll catch up with you in 20 years.
When I show up at
later,
your door.
and then you're like, hey, Maureen, I'm in New York, coming upstairs. And you know what I said? Sure, come up.
Come up.
It's a true story.
It is.
All my love and thanks for that impeccable conversation. And it's being recorded. And I think we started with a song and we might end with a song. Let's see what it's going to be. DJ Price is Right. Let's hear it. Oh, this is okay. This might take a little bit longer than we thought. But for those
For me to know it.
Do you feel the same?
yeah.
Will it make it easier on you now? You got someone to blame.
Oh, I love this song.
Here she comes. Wait a minute. Here comes. There we go. I love when he says, hit it, Mary. He's going to say it now, right? Hit it, Mary? Oh, I shut up, Kevin. Here she goes.
Did I disappoint you?
We'll wait till she screams once.
You act like you never had love, and you want people without. Well, it's too late tonight. Where the past comes tonight. But it's not the same. Can't reach other, can't reach other.
Did you hear it? Oh, next time we'll use my JBL speaker. Okay. Thank you.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Thank you. And song requests are available on KK at BRArecyclingagency.com. Thanks.
All right, bye.
Bye.